I filmed the video on the 28th of February this year. So 4.5 months ago, and the video was $80,000 Bitcoin is here. It is now $120,000 today. That is a 50% gain in 4.5 months. Tell me what asset can have that volatility to the upside. There is no other asset in this world that can do a gain like that in 4.5 months comfortably. And yes, set its bottom floor price was 80, then 90, then 100, then 110, then 120. So we might see some volatility in the short term, but it's building stairs up. This asset is no longer a scary, volatile asset. If anything, its stability in its price increase is insanity, man. There's going to be dips along the way, of course, but these legs up are so huge that even with a little bit of volatility to the downside, you could have made enough money that any downside you can take. So real estate's not going to give you 50. You might buy a house. Your house is not going to go up 50% in 4.5 months. And when it does, it's extremely rare. Bitcoin is doing this every year. It is consistently outperforming everything, and it does it comfortably. So people need to start looking at Bitcoin. If you don't own Bitcoin, you probably don't give a stuff about what its price is, but you need to have a second look because it is now ranked 6th for market cap, and that's competing on the Magnificent Seven and gold. So we look, gold is 22.521 trillion as of today. Nvidia is around 4 trillion. Microsoft is 3.738. Apple is 3.115. Amazon is 2.396 trillion. And then Bitcoin, 2.384 trillion. So it's just passed comfortably, by the way, Facebook, Silver, Google, Amazon yesterday, but now that it's trickled down a few thousand, it's just below Amazon. It will pass Amazon in the next few days again. Then what's next? Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and then the big dog gold. So I think this is not even a prediction at this point. This is unfolding, so something would have to change for this to not continue. It will pass all of the Magnificent Seven this cycle. So I'm saying at the end of the year or going into next year, we're going to see a $4 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. So mark my words, 2025 or 2026, Bitcoin will be at number 2. And so the only way that doesn't happen is World War III, which you can argue whether it's already started. That breaks out to the point where everything crashes, but you're not going to see Nvidia or Microsoft or Apple comfortably sitting at the top if that happens. Everything will be down. And so then the argument will no longer stand for anything. But if this continues to unfold, which is what's happening right now, going from 80,000 to 120,000 in 4.5 months, that is extremely doable. Then gold. Would I be surprised if Bitcoin is at equal or above gold in less than 5 years? No, because this thing is on the move. We have ETFs coming in, buying more than we could even fathom. We have Michael Saylor. He doesn't give a stuff what price it is. He is borrowing as much fiat as possible at an extremely low interest rate and buying Bitcoin by the billions. Then we have countries. The US still hasn't even bought Bitcoin. And if they actually start to unfold that, trying to get to 1 million over the next 4 years as a country, the supply squeeze is just going to be insanity. It's going to continue to be insanity. So you need to have a second look at Bitcoin because its price isn't slowing down. There can be volatility in the short term, but if you zoom out, this thing is on the move. I remember telling people to buy around 50, 60,000 last year. And now it's at 120,000. So they would have doubled their money. So if you'd put in 100 grand in say September last year, it would be worth around 200 grand right now. That is how fast this thing moves. It's just absolute insanity. Like people are leaving life-changing gains just on the table just by not opting into a better savings account. You don't have to be a fancy trader, a fancy investor. If you can leave the money that can be printed, so you go to work and trade your time and energy for dollars that can just be printed. If you leave that for a system that can't just be printed on a spot, that has a limited supply, that's predictable, it is at this point it's basic math, and it will start to unfold, and you'll realize that your savings will be increasing 40 to 50% a year on average, and that's going to outperform any asset, but also, of course, it's going to outperform your cash. Your cash is losing between 10 and 12% through the printing of money, which is monetary inflation, every single year in a good country. If you're in a bad country, then you might be losing 50, 60% of your purchasing power and your savings every single year because they're printing your money at a rate that we can't even comprehend. So on a bad year, you know, even in Australia, you're looking at 12 to 14%. On a good year, 7. So you can't win this fiat game. No wonder life is getting so expensive. No wonder you're struggling. I'm giving you an option to opt out. I'm giving you an option to make your life 10 times better, 100 times, 1,000 times better. And all you have to do is swap your crappy dollars for a better dollar, and that's Bitcoin. It's not that hard. I'm not asking you to stare at the charts all day. I'm asking you to buy at least 1 million Satoshis today, 0.01 Bitcoin, then try and get to 2 million Satoshis, then 3 million Satoshis, and start trading these false assets, these illusionary products, for something that's true. It is truth economics. So this is the only thing that is math-based, that is fair and predictable out of everything. Everything else is artificially inflated. So if the US dollar is the strongest currency we have, and it's lost 99% of its value since 1913, then that's not very good. So your winner has lost 99% of its value in just over 100 years. That's not a very good winner. So it's time to try something else. And you can't go back to gold because gold is not as divisible, not verifiable. There's so much fake gold. And it's very inflationary, 2% every year. But what if someone just goes and finds $5 trillion worth of gold, you know, in their backyard tomorrow? Suddenly, supply shock, gold's price goes down. So when something has an increase in supply, all of a sudden, its price drops because it's no longer scarce. So if you take gold's scarcity away, it is just a rock. It's not a good store of value long term, and it's not a good form of money, that's for sure. It's failed as money for thousands of years. I would argue that it's been a good store of value for thousands of years, but Bitcoin is here now. It can be money, it can be a store of value, it can be your savings account, it can be data, it can be tethered to the internet, it is digital, it is superior in all forms, and it's something that you need to have a second look at. So stack sats, focus on Satoshis, not Bitcoin. Satoshis are a small percentage of Bitcoin. There's 100 million Satoshis. Don't worry about trying to get to one whole Bitcoin. Just try and get as much as you can because this thing's on the run and you're running out of time. The price is getting away from you and your life will continue to be more and more expensive if you're not in Bitcoin right now. Thanks guys for watching and cheers. Leave some comments. Thanks.